won the Coach of the Year literally a couple days before, and they hit my people up like, hey, like like we're really considering drafting him. Like maybe we should stop having him work out. I was eating a little breakfast burrito at the airport, and on all over ESPN, the Denver Nuggets fire or part ways, fire Coach George Karl.
Yo, this is our first episode of Hidden Gems. Just a little bit of background of why we started it. I think, there's a lot of hidden gems out there, especially with players, overseas. There's a lot of guys that don't get highlighted, the Luka Doncic's, the Victors who are going to be number one picks. There's a lot of guys that are still playing that you probably know about and probably don't even know that they're still here. So that's kind of a little bit how this started. Crazy story, though. My man Ray McCallum, our co-host, we honestly just met each other. Honestly, this summer, last summer, before
Yeah,
COVID?
yeah. I met you about 2 years ago, and then really, really got to know you this past summer.
Yeah, exactly. And it seems like me and you have been like best friends, like, over a course of time because, me and you've gotten really close. I don't think you remember this, but my first year that I started Swish Coaches, maybe 3 years ago, I recorded a workout. You were one of the first workouts I recorded. It was you and Ben McLemore.
Yeah,
My sister took some pictures of you, and that's honestly how I was introduced to you. But there was really no introduction. I really met you with Drew Holiday, who's now in the finals.
yeah, for sure. I remember that day. It's actually funny when you were at the gym, and I knew who you and your sister were, because Ben had said Swish was on their way, and I remember y'all got some pictures for us. I felt big time. I felt official that day, and then obviously this past summer, just being around Drew and working out and you capturing everything. That's how it all started off.
Yeah, and just before we get started, like with Drew, making it to the NBA Finals, can you just talk a little bit about how that's been? Just watching him, go get traded to Milwaukee because we were low key at the gym when he was getting traded to Milwaukee. Just
Yeah,
talk about that.
no, it was crazy for sure. First off, I'm super excited and happy for him. That dude works harder than anybody I know, which is kind of crazy. We were really there watching the whole process last year. Not only the grind he was on, but just going through the whole the trade, the free agency stuff. I know he wasn't a free agent, but just it kind of felt like he was a free agent, knowing that he was going to leave New Orleans and not really knowing where he was going to get traded to. I know you and I kept thinking maybe Brooklyn or maybe the Lakers or the Clippers. I know you're a hometown kid. You wanted him to stay home.
Yep.
But yeah, but to see how everything unfolded and worked out this way, we knew he wanted to be all defensive team. And I'm happy to see he's getting everything that he deserves.
Yep. Hey, no cap though. I did think he was going to Brooklyn. We made a bet about that. Remember that he was going to go
Yeah,
to
I
Brooklyn.
thought he was going to, for sure. We saw
Yeah.
KD, Kyrie were in the gym every day.
Remember, and then the rumors came out, so I'm like, oh nah, like they need another defender. I'm thinking like, yo, for
Yeah,
sure. This is
yeah,
before all the James Harden talk, guys. This is before that. So, don't get too crazy on us. That was before all that stuff happened. That's
for
why we
sure.
thought Drew was gonna go over there because of all that. That was before we knew James was coming over. So, but that's not why we're here. This is our introduction episode. Ray, I feel like has a big time story. I have a big time story myself, but I kind of just want to elaborate, kind of on the player that Ray is. So can you just give an introduction, of some of the teams that you've played for, some of the coaches, some of the Hall of Famers you play for in the league?
Yeah, for sure. I would say I started off. I was drafted 36 pick, Sacramento Kings. That year we had Isaiah Thomas, DeMarcus Cousins. We traded. We got Rudy Gay. Um, those are the big name guys I had in Sac. The next season I went to. Next season after that I went to. No, excuse me. I was there for 2 years, and then I ended up getting traded to San Antonio. My third year in the NBA, I had Tim Duncan, Tony Parker, Mono Ginobili, Kawhi Leonard, LaMarcus Aldridge, David West. Those guys were all there my first year. Um, then to end that season, I actually had got waived by the Spurs like the last month in the season. I finished with Memphis. The time I was in Memphis for maybe 2 months was I had Mike Conley, Marcus Saul, Vince Carter, Zach Randolph, Tony Allen, Trying to think who else I'm missing. Matt Barnes was there as well. Um, yeah, man. I mean, that's a lot of names right there, just
Yeah,
on three teams.
I honestly wanted people to just to hear, a lot of the names and the like the teams and players that you play with because when I post you on Swish like this summer, I get two things. The first thing was that he was a great player in NBA 2K. I always get that.
I was nice. I was
And you
nice on
you
2K.
you had some parts in the episode where you like had some speaking parts, like when you're like in the creative player mode or something. So people are like, "Yo, that dude was cold in that game."
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yep. And then next thing is I just remember from your high school years. So that's why I kind of wanted to take a deep dive in, kind of like intertwine my high school years with yours and go on with theirs. So with that being said, at what age did you start identifying that you were good at basketball? Because me, I was a late bloomer. I didn't start really developing until my senior year of school. I grew to 6'9". I was a 5'7" point guard and third string, my freshman year. What about you? I know you have a different case than I did.
That's crazy, man. The bigs, y'all always hit y'all's growth spurt so late. It's wild, man. You AD, everybody, all y'all were point guards, and then now y'all want to be big centers. But man, honestly, for me, I don't want to sit here and be like, man, I was always good growing up, but I was always one of the better kids in my class at a young age. But when I knew personally that I might have a chance was I'll never forget. I was living in Norman, Oklahoma at the time. My dad was assistant coach at OU under Kelvin Sampson, and man, I remember one summer my mom was rebounding for me in the gym, and I couldn't make 10 free throws in a row, and I remember like throwing the ball, not throwing it at my mom, you know what I'm saying, but I was throwing the pass hard back to her, all frustrated. My dad was in the gym. He got mad. I remember he sat me down one day. He was like, "Hey, when you want to take the game serious, like let me know." And I was 12 years old. I remember the next day I was like, "All right, I want to work. Like I want to, I want to be good." And that summer, like we trained like crazy. I had actually just moved to Oklahoma from Houston. He was coaching at Houston before. That summer, I want to say I won my first AAU national championship. Uh, and when I won that one, I knew like that's when they were ranking kids and all that. And I was like top 20 in my class. And I had started like, it's crazy. They rank kids seventh or eighth grade, but I remember getting ranked. And then what's just crazy, I stayed ranked all the way throughout middle school and high school. But I would say around like 12, I thought, I was working out, I was training like really to try to be something.
Was there like basketball, like Ball is Life tapes for eighth graders then? Because I know like that was the beginning of social media era. Like, did you
Man,
have a tape? Like, did you go into
man,
gyms and people
listen,
were like, "Oh, yo, that's Ray McCallum"? Like, what?
listen. Listen, above me was like a couple years ahead of me was like Brandon Jennings, D Rose, Eric Gordon. Those guys are like probably 2, 3 years ahead of me. So I think I was in like eighth grade. So they must have been like, let's see, they might have been '08. Oh, they were my '07, '08. So they're a couple years ahead of me, like 3 years older than me. But
Yeah.
they were the ones who had those videos first. So that was all I was working for, bro. Trying to get on Hoop Mixtape, Ball is Life. I didn't get that until I want to say like my freshman or sophomore year in high school. When I got on Hoop Mixtape, Ball is Life, I was like, oh yeah, I'm like that because we don't have it like it is now with the whole Instagram and all that. If you can get a clip on YouTube, you were solid. And I remember I think I got it like my after my freshman or sophomore year of high school.
Yeah, I just remember that like for me because I was never a guy that got no mixtape. So every dude I saw that had a mixtape, I would low key try to go at him. So I would be like, yo, that's my opportunity for me to
Oh
shine.
yeah,
To be honest with you, so it's a
for
little
sure.
different experience. And my recruitment, I didn't really get recruited until my senior year of school. What about you? I mean, if you're a ninth grader getting tapes, were you getting recruited early on in your ninth grade year? How was your recruiting process?
My whole recruiting process was crazy because so I moved so many times with my dad coaching. So my seventh and eighth grade year, I was in Norman, Oklahoma. He was at OU. So then my freshman year, I moved to Indiana, Bloomington, Indiana, where IU is. And so he was an assistant there, and I I really thought I was going to IU. To be honest with you, Coach Sampson was the head coach. I had known him since I was young, and so really that whole year I was when is it? Maybe there's a certain point, maybe you're a freshman or sophomore, you can start getting letters, right? So I would get all the letters from all the schools. And then, my back of my mind, I just figured that, you know, I'm gonna end up going to IU. But it definitely took a turn. When I left, my dream school, like my sophomore year, was Kansas. And I wanted to be a
Who was on that
Jayhawks.
team with Sharon Collins
I
and them
wanted to
on
be a
that team?
Jayhawk so bad. Yes, they had him.
Oh my goodness.
I think Brandon Rush was there. This is a year I remember they played. They played Derrick Rose.
I was just about to
Yeah,
say
they
that.
played Memphis in
Yeah,
the Final
Mario.
Four.
Then was Mario there or no?
Mario hit the shot. He hit the big shot. I
Uh,
think to win. I think to win the national championship that year. And I think I might have been a freshman or sophomore in high school. I remember watching that at my friend's house, and I was like, "Yeah, that's where I got to go. I want to go to Kansas."
I mean,
Yeah,
if so, you became one of the top players in the nation during your high school year. Did
yeah,
Kansas ever come like knocking on the door, or what was the situation with that?
100%. So I want to say my sophomore year is like the first time I had spoke to Kansas, and then I think that summer I spoke to Bill Self, and I thought I had made it at that point. My sophomore year, no, I think my junior year, you can take like unofficial visits. So I went down there. They had this thing, I've never heard of like Midnight Madness. It's like the first official practice for college basketball. At 1 o'clock, it's midnight. They do a whole little deal. They had a situation called Late Night at the Fog. I remember going down there. Xavier Henry was on his official visit. They had a whole bunch of guys out there, man. And that weekend, I was only a junior in high school, but I was ready to get it done right then and there.
Bro, like I feel like that's always been a rule. Like, I don't know how how did your pops talk to you about visits? Because he's a college coach too. But I remember, telling my sister this. I was like, yo, when you go on your visit, do not sign as soon as you get there because that visit is gonna look amazing.
Yeah, nah, you definitely can't. There's so much more that goes into it just in the visit. They make the visit, like you said, it's amazing. It's they make it a great weekend. But for me, though, I mean, I had already really kind of did my research, and just as a kid, really liking Kansas and wanting that to be my school. When I got there, I was like, wow, this is everything and more than what I thought I was going to be. Um, but no, it was a cool experience. But you definitely can't. I would definitely not recommend someone just commit off the visit or on the visit.
Yeah. What were some of like the top players that you played against in high school years? I know some of the that you were
Yeah, for sure.
in your
Well, actually,
class.
Actually, Kansas, everything was cool, but they signed my boy Josh Selby, so that took me out the picture. He was like number 2 in the country, I think, that time. Cold blooded, that's my guy, and that's the point guard they ended up taking. Um, but my class was man, if I can remember right, I think the number 1 point guard was obviously Kyrie Irving, and I think second might have been Brandon Knight. Um, Third had to been Josh Selby. Four was, oh man, it was Corey Joseph or Kendall Marshall, and then I was fifth, and I think Joe Jackson, who went to Memphis, was sixth. So we were all the point guards, but we had uh, other guards. You even think a guy who wasn't even highly ranked like that, like Tim Hardaway. Look at him now. Um, who else was in my class that I'm trying to think that was who's in the league killing right now? Oh, Victor Oladipo. Vic was in our class too. He's not a point guard, but yeah, he was a guard in our class. Now we had a nice group for sure.
Yeah, and since you're kind of being in your humble mode right now, you became McDonald's All American, in your senior season, and you're a top five guard, but ranked number 17th player in the
Yeah.
nation, and then so you start narrowing down your schools. So, how did that decision making process go, and then what did you narrow your top four teams down to?
Yeah, it was an interesting summer because, to be honest with you, I never really had my dad's team, Detroit, really in the mix. I mean, I would put them down in my top list of schools because it was my pops, and I was trying to help him out as much as I could. So that summer we broke it down, and my dad he helped me out a lot, my family, because I think you can take 4 or 5 official visits. So I had UCLA, Arizona, Florida, and Detroit. And I think Oklahoma was in there too. I took a visit to Oklahoma too because I had love for Oklahoma because we were just there when I was in middle school. The whole thing. Jeff Capel was the coach there at the time, and then yeah, broke it down to figuring out what schools are going to take the visits to. And then I had to do the in-home visits too with my dad right there. So it was a little awkward process. But I went to Florida, I went to Oklahoma, I went to UCLA, and I went to Arizona. I took visits to all four of those schools. And then all those coaches came and did the in visits at my house too.
Yeah, but how is it doing an in visit with your pops being there when he's a head coach at a university?
Oh man. So we're in the crib at the kitchen counter and not even, we're at the dining room table, which is way more formal, you feel me? So so the first one was man, Billy Donovan, man. Billy Donovan and Billy Donovan came to the house and I got my dad on my left and my mom on my right. And they're sitting across from us, like giving me the whole pitch about why he wanted me to come to Florida and everything he thought. You know, my pops is cool with it, but like when they were saying what they had to say, I heard a lot of mm, you know, a lot of ums. It wasn't like the traditional dad like sitting there like he's, you know,
Excited,
super
like, yo,
super
yeah,
excited. Yeah,
yeah,
he
like,
he's listening. They got the practice gym, they got this, they got all this going on. You know what I'm saying? We didn't have this at Detroit, you know what I mean? So he's just like, dang, that's a lot, you know what I mean? Uh so it was definitely awkward at first, man. I can't lie because my dad never pressured me. It was never like you're coming to Detroit or anything like that. Like he's trying to be a good father here and help his son and help me with the whole process. But at the same time, these schools are pitching me these things that why I should go to their school. In the back of his mind is like he's sitting here thinking like, I want to coach my son too. Like these are the same things I want to say to my son, so he comes to play for me. But he didn't go on the official visits. I don't think he went to one. I think he went to maybe he went. I think he didn't go to Florida, but my mom went with me and we went to a football game and everything was crazy. I think he came to UCLA and I think he came to Arizona. I know he came to Arizona for a fact. For a fact, he came there. I don't know if he went to UCLA, so he might have only went on one visit because he definitely didn't come with me to Oklahoma.
did you hear any rumblings about people saying like, ah, man, he gonna go with his dad? Like, I don't even know why we're really recruiting him.
Uh, I definitely heard. I would hear that, and I would be like, nah, I'm not. I'm really not going there because honestly, bro, I wasn't going there. You know what I mean? It was like literally, I was looking out, trying to help Detroit, help my pops with the recruiting and everything, and some of the coaches on his staff would tell people like, yeah, I'll call me Lil Ray. Like, yeah, Lil Ray coming. He's coming next year for sure. He'll be here. I'm thinking like, bro, I'm not going to Detroit. You know what I mean? Like I'm going to either UCLA, Arizona, or Florida. Like it's one of those three. And then man, I ended up going to Detroit. So I guess whatever they were
Man,
saying was the
we
truth.
before we get into that story, bro. Not only did you go to Detroit, you at the time, I'm gonna paint this picture for y'all. There was only a few players that got a chance to go on ESPN and make their decision. Mind you, because I've seen the video and we're gonna show it at some point. Um, there was four hats on the table. It was UCLA, Arizona, Detroit Mercy, and it was Florida. In my mind, if I see all those schools and then I just see Detroit in the mix, I'm like, nah, he's going to Detroit for sure. So, with that being said, like, why did you choose Detroit? And was there any pressure? Because I know you probably hear that a lot. Was there any pressure with you making that decision?
Yeah, that's crazy. Way you just painted that picture. That's really how it was, bro. I'll never forget that day at school. I committed on ESPN. I think it was like ESPNU or ESPN2, and I had to leave school early that day because everybody at school was like, "Bro, you're not going. Where are you going? You're going to go to Arizona." There, trying to make bets on and everything. So, man, that whole day was crazy. Um, I know I'm kind of going around your question, but to give you a little background story of how that day went. So, with me committing on ESPN, they contacted my dad, right? And they were like, "Hey," because they wanted me to do it in the beginning of the beginning of the year. A lot of guys did it, but I waited to the last day. It was like April something, the last day of signing date. I remember I called my dad the day of. I said, "Hey, I wear number 3. I'm like, hey, go in the equipment room, but don't let anybody see. Like, don't let anybody see. Go in there and grab a number 3 Detroit jersey. I said, whatever I do, like I'm just gonna pull out a jersey or whatever of the school. You know what I mean? So he goes in there. So in his mind, he thinking like, oh, he must be coming to Detroit. Like, you know what I mean? Like he's gonna pull out the jersey, whatever. You know what I mean? So I didn't want to do the hat, right? Everybody does a hat. So he goes in there. He goes and gets the jersey, and comes back to the crib. I know this is not your question, but I'm switching it up on you. So he goes and gets the jersey, right? He gets the jersey and brings it home. I'm at the crib. I'm putting on my little suit. I'm trying to get fresh, whatever. And he comes in my room, and I'm like, yeah, don't let anybody see. He comes in my room with the letter of intent, right? Like the paperwork. And he like, hey, you got to sign this real quick, or I can't speak on your behalf. Even though you're my son, like you got to sign the paperwork. That way, when you announce, when the media and everybody asks, like we can, I can speak on it right away. There's no
Yeah.
violation. So that was a moment right then and there. He knew I was coming to Detroit. He came in the room. I signed it in the room before I committed. Put the jersey in a bag. Put it in the shoebox. Made it look like it was a hat. And then I went in there and I announced to Detroit. But it was at that point I knew, man. I knew for a little bit of time that I was going to go to Detroit, and that was that, man.
What was the response from the coaches and fans? Were they like, you felt pressured by your dad? Like, and then
Oh
like when you
man,
made them calls, because a lot of people like, I know you're a well raised kid. I know you made calls and thanked everybody for
for sure.
on that. And that's always the worst part. So how did that go? Or people like, nah, we already knew you was going to Detroit.
Yeah, so my pops made me before I did it. He made me go and call everybody. He was trying to. I'll tell you, he was locking it up. He was locking it down. He was making sure you called him and tell him we're gonna sign this letter now. So I went in probably like 30 minutes before I committed here. All the coaches, hey, good luck. We want you to come here, whatever. So I'm not gonna say all the names, but all the schools that I called, I want to say one must have got word because one didn't even answer. I'm like, dang, he didn't even answer. He must have been in practice. I'm hoping that this day he was at practice. The other coach was hot. Like he was kind of mad. Like he was like, "Are you sure? Are you sure this is what you really want to do?" I was like, "Dang, you gonna try to make me second guess myself?" Like, so it was awkward. Uh, and then the other coach, he understood all the way. He was super supportive about it, and he was like, "Yeah, no, I think that's a good decision." And then, but the reaction from everybody else, the whole world was shocked. Everybody was shocked.
Because first off, Detroit Mercy is not a school that you even hear of. So a lot of people, I
Yeah,
mean, I know you played in Detroit, so they knew where it was, but especially at that time, there wasn't too many kids making like turning down, big schools like that, especially during that time. And we're gonna speak on this because you had
yeah,
UCLA at the time, and Ben Hallen was there,
yeah,
and they had a history of every year they had a point guard go on the draft.
yeah.
So for you not to make that decision, was that kind of tough, like factoring those in, and then especially Arizona too. Like they had Kyle Fogg, they had a lot of good guys down there. They're
Mm-hmm.
known for producing big time guards. So for you not to go there, it's kind of shocking.
Oh yeah, it was um, it was a super tough process for me because as a hooper, your dream is to go to a big school, play an NCAA tournament, go to the Final Four, and get to the NBA. And with the schools like UCLA, that's what you get. That's what they do. Uh, a school like Arizona, point guard you, that's what they do. A school like Florida, Billy Donovan, like back then, like that's what they were doing. So to have that, it was tough, man. I remember taking all the visits, talking to the coaches and everything all the time. But honestly, what got tough for me is trying to pick the school. Like, Florida was they had Kenny Boyd and had Irv Walker there, and then the next year at the time, like Austin Rivers was like number one or two in his class, and he's a Florida kid, so it seemed like he might was gonna go there. You know what I mean? And then with UCLA, you had man, I can't. They had what's his name? Malcolm. What's his name, man?
Malcolm Lee,
Malcolm Lee. He was a big deal. He was there like a year or two before me. Was
top
it Jared?
17 pick too. For those that don't know the names, top 17 pick.
They have the big time guard out of California. I think Jeremy Anderson or something like that. He was another guard. They had other guys. They had a lot of guys in Arizona. That's when they had Derek Williams there. No one knew that Derek Williams, Solomon Hill, all these guys were going to be NBA guys yet because they were going to go to USC. Then Sean Miller got the job. Nick Wise had just graduated. They had Momo Jones. Like they had Nick Johnson was going to be coming in. Like they had a lot, they had a lot of guards and stuff. So I was trying to figure out a situation where all the schools has promised me you're going to start, you're going to this and that. But, like I was really trying to go somewhere and try to, get in hoop, start as a freshman, do my thing and earn my way to the NBA. And I knew playing for my dad, like it wasn't going like it. I knew what I was walking into. Some of the other situations, I just had a hard time. I ain't gonna say the names, but I had players at some of the schools like, yo, don't come here. You don't want to play for this coach. Like it ain't what you think it is. Like I was supposed to be in and out. I'm here 3-4 years. I ain't gonna get drafted. Like when you start hearing that from the players, that start kind of getting a little tricky.
But you don't think that they are hating because look, when you're at McDonald's, a McDonald's All-American coming in, the first thing they're gonna think is my spot is in jeopardy because he's a one and done guy.
For sure,
it's normal, and then he's gonna come here and take my spot. So sometimes people might throw that little shade over there, and then and they're like, yeah, we don't need him to come here. You don't think that you got that?
No, that's true. I mean, that's a fact for sure. I mean, I was cool with the guy. I mean, yeah, for real. I mean, I think some situations, I know for a fact some of the guys really probably didn't want me to come because being at McDonald's and all that, the resume, you know what I'm saying? You probably you got to earn everything, but you're probably going to start and play a lot. I technically wasn't really worried about it. But just hearing that, it just kind of made me a little uncomfortable. Like, man, like, is this really true? Or are they saying that because they don't want me to come here? Or are they really not rocking with the situation? And then for me, once I made the McDonald's game, I remember doing the dunk contest. And again, Josh Selby, he won it. I got second. I should have won, but I missed like my between the legs. He made his. Yeah. Once I did that, that's when I kind of got put on the map a little bit more because I made the McDonald's game without committing to any of those schools. Then I did that dunk contest, and I had a good week at the McDonald's. It's like a whole weekend or week. I had a good week there. So I started creating a little bit of buzz. And then I was like, you know what? Maybe I don't have to go to one of these big schools to get to the league. You know what I mean? That's kind of how I'm thinking at the time. You know what I'm saying? So I had a lot of that going on a little bit too. And then just the trust thing. Trust for me is a huge thing. And I knew with my pops, like he was going to help me get better and whatever the case might be and help me, get to my full potential.
Okay. So then we get to freshman year of school. When I played my freshman year, I was the only freshman there. We had guys like I played D2. We had guys like Ivan Johnson who played NBA. A lot of other guys that, are playing overseas right now. They were there, but there's a saying that I remember that I heard when I was and it's like prom and all that glitz and glamour, like that's all over. Like the dance is over. Now you're there at school. How is it for you, going in with your pops though? Is the dance still going? You still got your dancing shoes on? Or is it like still like you starting fresh and there's no glitz and glamour at all?
Man, I walked in there. I thought I had my dancing shoes on. Pops took those off real quick. Now I got there. Everything was cool. I was close with the team because I had been there for a couple of years. And most of the guys on the team have been there for a little while.
Oh yeah, you were the little homie.
So so I was a little bro for real. So it was all love, but it's different when you become their teammate. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But it was all love. It was cool. But so in the locker room was fine. But in terms of just getting adjusted to playing for my dad was different because growing up, he had kind of been my coach my whole life, working me out and all that, and watching film and everything. But when you're on the team, it's different. Like I never called, even to this day, I never called him coach. Like I'm always calling him dad, you know what I'm saying? And practice is I turn it over. I miss a layup, or I miss a dunk. Like he's got me on the baseline running sprints, running suicides, like just me in front of the whole team. I'm like, what's up? You know what I mean? But it took me a while. Like, oh, he's challenging me. He's making me earn everything. He ain't like, you ain't gonna just be this McDonald's walking in here thinking you sweet. Like it's gonna be easy. And so he made me earn all that. And then
but why wouldn't it be easy though? You took a big risk by going to Detroit, right?
Right.
And then wouldn't you think that because I know how it is, being raised a certain way, but I'm playing devil's advocate, right? Like if you know that your son's gonna go to the league, why not just have him just give him the keys?
Why not give them the
Yeah.
keys immediately?
Yeah, exactly. Especially when they go to small schools, because I'm just speaking for the new generation, because I don't agree with a lot of the new generation, but if a new generation kid goes to a smaller school, most likely they're gonna be given the keys to do whatever
Right.
they want. So
No,
that's what I'm
I think my pops we're a little old school. You know what I mean? Like we're more so like you got to grind to get what you deserve. And I think for him it was, he did tell me before I got there, like, I'm gonna challenge you. I'm gonna push you. I'm gonna help you get there. Which I'm like, all right, cool, yeah, yeah, all right. That's father son talk. But it got different when I got there. It was like coach player. Like, he was challenging me. He was making me run. He was any mistake I did, even if my teammate messed up, he's yelling at me because it was my fault. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, what? He would put me in situations to where I had to, earn my respect from my teammates, earn my respect from the coaches, and for me to have to go through some battles myself to be prepared and ready to carry a team.
yeah. How was it, like throughout, because you played there 3 years, why
Yeah.
did you end up staying there, and why didn't you become just a one and done guy?
Well, I knew I wasn't probably gonna be one and done. Like it was never really talked like that in high school. Even though I made the McDonald's game and all that, uh, I knew like I still needed to get better. I was a little bit skinnier back then. I needed to get big, stronger, quicker, all that. So my freshman year, to be honest with you, I thought like, oh, okay, I'm supposed to be at a big time school. I'm gonna come in here and kill. But little man, listen, we had Butler there. They had Shelvin Mack. You had Butler that's in the national championship back to back years. You had Norris Cole at Cleveland State, who was first round pick. I think that man had 40, 20, and 20 one game that year. Like we had some dogs and we had some teams in that conference. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
like it was never sweet. And then two, I was like, I think the highest recruit to ever come to the conference where like I had a target and I'm like, bro, I'm like a freshman, like them seniors was at my head every night. You know what I'm saying? So like I had a a year to like really like I got challenged. I got challenged every day. And I think that year I averaged like a little under 14. I was like the newcomer of the year, but I had a solid season. And then I knew like, all right, that next summer like would be big for me. Like maybe I can come back next year and maybe get the team to the tournament and maybe after my second year, like, maybe get to the NBA.
Yeah. Um, so there's this like big study about kids that play with their parents. You see it a lot now in this new generation. You see a lot more kids playing with their parents, or just kids that are involved with their parents with basketball. And they said a lot of times that their most unenjoyable time for a kid is when they're in their car rides home. How was it for you with that dynamic? And like, how was it during the season when you were probably in your pop's doghouse? Did you avoid him at any time? Like, how was that situation and relationship with the 3 years you were playing?
100%. That's a great question, bro. So I didn't live at my parents' house. You know what I'm saying? They stay like 15 minutes from the school.
Yeah.
I was in my own spot, whatever. So me and my dad always we was cool. He's on my head, whatever, whatever. Before practice, I go in his office. We watch film, and he's talking to me like, father son, helping me out, making me a better player. It's cool. But a father always gonna get a little annoyed with his son sometimes, so he would kind of get annoyed in the film and kind of nitpick on little things, right? And then we get to practice, and it would be cool. Then literally 30 minutes later, we get to practice, and he's like yelling at me on my head once again, making me run suicides, making me the whole thing. I'd be like, what? So I'd be like, bro, I'm you switching up, bro. Like you coach and you dad. Like which one are you, bro? So it would be times where like, what I'm saying, I want to go home, get a home cooked meal, or I want, go home, eat. My mom's cooking or whatever. So I have to hit my mom up like, hey, is dad home? Like, what time is he gonna be home? She's like, nah, he won't be home for like 2 hours. So I'll slide back to the crib real quick, go home, eat, kick it at the house. And as soon as I know he's on his way, we call her, I was out. You know what I'm saying? I'm back to my spot. That way we have to bump into each other. I ain't gonna lie, I did that a couple times. I even think sometimes she might even brought me the food and dropped it off at the crib so we didn't have to run into each other. But
Yeah.
that was more so like my freshman year, and then after that, it was cool. But yeah,
Yeah.
we definitely had our times. Or sometimes he's calling out a play. There's videos of me pounding the ball right in front of him, like just out there upset. He ain't running a play for me, or he ain't let me rock. But it was cool though.
Yeah. What do you think? Like, until like we're gonna transition to the draft, but what do you think your pops learned? With having you, play under him. I know there's some things that he probably learned himself too as well. What do you think that he learned the most having his son play, especially being a highly ranked player, recruited player? Yeah.
Probably man. Like if he would have let me rock a little bit more our freshman year, we probably could have won some more games. Nah, I'm just messing with you.
Yeah.
I think, I think, I think he learned. I mean, I learned more from him than I think he probably learned from me. I mean, my dad, has been coaching forever, man. Like he's been a head coach for, I want to say maybe 20 years or so. He's been coaching for what, like 36 years, something. My man, Coach Bonzi Wells, who was a lottery pick back at Ball State. So this ain't his first time coaching pros, and he's been an assistant coach at a lot of big schools. So he knew how to get guys ready and prepared. Um, I think more than anything, he learned just to, you know, maybe be patient. Be a little bit. You got to be patient with some guys. Sometimes it takes a little longer to develop. Like I said, it took me 3 years to get drafted. I stayed into my junior year, and I think having me on the team, and then me and his son, and then talking to him so much, like even at the house, or I think he just learned like he's always been a player's coach, but I mean, I think he really understands like how players feel all the time, more so than more, because I could tell him really what was going on. You know what I mean? Like from a player's perspective, how I felt. I'm gonna keep it super real with him, like how I feel, how he is as a coach. So I just kind of will give him the super realist feedback you could probably get.
Well, there's a top five ranked player. I'm not sure. Rankings is different all over, so I don't want people jumping on my name. Oh, he's number one. But if there's a kid named Patrick Baldwin, that is possibly going. I'm not really 100% if he is going to UW Milwaukee.
Yeah.
And what advice would you give him? In a situation, with playing with your pops and getting highly recruited, and what would you give to the son, and what would you give to the pops? Because I don't think it really gets realized how much of a sacrifice even the kid is making. Because honestly, later on down the road, if it don't work, that's something that could potentially be a problem within the relationship later on down the road. Thank God for you, it didn't work like that. But I'm pretty sure there's some other players that have been in that same situation where it didn't work out. There's issues at the house. What would you kind of tell? What kind of advice would you give him since you're kind of in a similar situation?
Yeah, no, that's a done deal. I actually just talked to this dad like 2 weeks ago, um, and his son's going. I want to say his son might be number 4 in the country. They say he was supposed to go to Duke and everything. I'm excited about it because his situation, one, is way different than mine. Like, yeah, I was McDonald's and all that, but I wasn't like this. Oh, this dude's one and done. He's like this NBA prospect. Like, this kid is supposed to be like that, and he's in a different category than myself. So I think what he can go do could be special, because the type of talent he is, he could probably get it done in 1 year. You know what I'm saying? Like, probably get that school to the tournament. They haven't been in a while. And when I spoke to his dad, I just told him like you just gotta enjoy. First off, enjoy it, because me and my dad had 3 years together, and it made our relationship and our family even closer. My sister was at Michigan State; she was down the street, and I was at Detroit. My mom, everybody was right there, so we always were at all the games and everything. So it was all love. So that's the main thing. You gotta enjoy it, because his son's probably gonna be one and done, or maybe 1 or 2 years, and then it's just like over. You ain't ever gonna get to coach your son. So I think I just told him, and first off, enjoy it, and then two, you gotta let him rock. You know what I mean? He's that type of player that you just gotta let him hoop. You know what I mean? And allow him to be great. Why not? Why not have your son be a lottery pick? Why not let him be great? My situation was a little different. I had a lot of good players around me on my team. You know what I mean? So I don't know too much about his school, but I feel like the situation he's walking into, he can go in there and dominate, be that guy, kind of like Doug McDermott. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Wow,
Player of the year, all that. Yeah.
Definitely, but I'm always gonna paint this picture because I always when I this is our first episode, but when you talk to me, I always think in terms of what a father or someone would be thinking about in the car. Like, yeah, but if it was my kid, he gonna do whatever he wants. You know, we gonna get him to the league like in the first
Yeah,
year. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
yeah,
So, what is
yeah,
your counter with some situations like that where because I'm probably sure that you probably have heard that, like, like why didn't he let you rock a little bit more or something like that, even though you don't know the dynamic of what's going on and he's making you a better player and you shoot made it this far for a reason because of your
yeah.
pops.
Right.
So what would you say to that?
No, I mean, like, I like how my dad handled my situation, right? Because the one thing everybody always says, like, well, why'd you go to Detroit? You should have gone to UCLA, Arizona. If you were there, you won, you'd be in the NBA right now, or you'd have been a first round pick, all that. But they got a good point. Like, yeah, it could have happened, but it might not have happened. What if I went to these schools and got caught up in doing the wrong thing, which I don't think that would ever happen. But or I just never, you just never know what you're gonna get yourself into. Like, at least with my dad, like he held me accountable for everything. I matured as a player, as a man. I think a lot of these situations you see now, even guys that were in my McDonald's and high school class, like they were higher, highly talented guys. They were supposed to be one and done guys. They were supposed to be that.
Yep.
Some of these guys that go into these situations where I'm not saying they're handed things, and I'm not saying they're given things, but they're in a situation where they can get away with a lot more, and they're not really held accountable for stuff, and that's why a lot of guys just aren't hooping no more, or they never made it to the NBA, or their careers didn't pan out the way they were supposed to, even in college. And I think that's a problem we see a lot now. Like, all these parents are, jumping to these situations and maybe thinking that their kids are a little better than they are. Like, I used to get mad at my dad because I thought I was better, but he was like, "Yeah, you're good, but you ain't ready yet." Even the year I got drafted, I remember he was like, kind of asked me like, you want to come back? I'm like, damn, come back. Like, bro, we're out. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's time to go. But he knew I could even get even a little bit more better. You know what I'm saying? But he knew I was ready to go my junior year, and it was time for me to go. But like, you have a real parent that really knows you, knows your game, and gonna really give you that guidance that you need. I mean, that's what I got from him for sure.
Okay, since you said that about him coming back, you just gave me another thought in my mind. A lot of times with this NBA, and because you experienced it, I'll never forget. I watched a pre-draft workout, and I'll never forget this on ESPN. It was Kyle Singler, and they put that his weakness was his age, and I'll never forget that
Mm,
because it was just like what, like that had nothing to do with basketball. So
yeah.
you being a 3 year guy, how do you feel like your game helped? I mean, developed, in the course of 3 years, and do you feel like that you playing 3 years kind of hurt you with a lot of teams? You would have went first off of the potential work.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, especially now it's changed a lot. They really want guys super young. But even when I came out, like the big name guy was CJ McCallum, and he stayed 4 years. I know he had, I think, broke his foot one year, but the year I thought he was gonna leave, he had that big tournament run, that big game against Duke, and they were even saying he was like first round, he could have left, but he came back. We were in the same draft class. He was a year older than me. I think when you dominate and you're that good, it doesn't matter. I think Doug McDermott might have stayed 4 years too. And I remember Doug hit me up. He was like, "Should I leave or come back?" I think I said, "Yeah, leave." But he came back. But he was chasing greatness. You want to be one of the all time best college players. Like, their situation's a little different. Um, Mine, I felt like I had to go. That window was closing for me. My sophomore year, I wanted to leave. I won our conference tournament. I think I averaged like 24 in the conference tournament. Then we played Kansas. My eyes got open when we played Kansas. I'm thinking like, all right, cool. I just came off this great tournament run. I had won the MVP. CJ just did this to Duke. I think they were 15 seed. Duke was two. We were 15 seed. We were playing Kansas. I'm like, all right, I'm about to do the same thing CJ did, and I was fourth at 15 that game. And I hadn't seen that length and that size on the team in a long time. That year Kansas lost to Kentucky in the championship game. So that kind of for me was like, oh no, I gotta get better. Like I'm maybe I ain't as good as I think I am, and I need to come back. And I think I looked at like some stuff and we did some research and I was like late second round pick. And I was like, nah, it wasn't even a thought for me to leave after that game. I was like, bro, I got to come back. Going to my junior year, like I knew what it was and I knew I was going to get drafted for sure.
All right, so you transitioning, you finish your junior year. A lot of guys are going through this right now. The draft is in July 27th. How was your pre-draft experience? How was that Boston Celtics workout? How was the Miami Heat workout? If you ended up doing those,
Man,
what was your toughest workout during the draft?
luckily I didn't have to do the Miami Heat one, but I heard Pat Riley. I heard it's crazy. The Boston
Yeah,
Celtics is tough because it's this 3 minute run. If I don't know if you heard about the 3 minute run
yeah,
that
that's
you have
why
to
I
do.
asked you.
Yeah, boy, they hit you with that 3 minute run. That one, and I think Phoenix tried to do it that year. Like Boston and Phoenix both did it that year.
What's the
But for
3 minute
me,
run?
it's so you gotta. It sounds easy, but it ain't like you gotta like run sprints for 3 minutes, and they looking and they charting it, and like you competing, you trying to get drafted, so you trying
You
to
going
like
max
yeah,
out?
you trying to beat the next guy. You know what I'm saying? I think like Peyton Siva had like an all time record. You know what I'm saying? Peyton just came off a national championship, everything. So everybody's trying to, Peyton had energy for days. So we all trying to catch Peyton's, uh, NBA draft 3 minute drill record, which none of us ever got. But like you like ready to tap out. You're in great shape and everything, but running for 3 minutes baseline to baseline is tough, and you got to work out. You know what I'm saying?
Oh
Like
wait,
it's a
hold on, time out.
but
This is
but
before
you
the workout, or is this
my bad, my
after?
bad. The workout is after, but you going hard. You know what I'm saying? 45 to an hour, trying to prove to these coaches and GMs why they should draft you. And then at the end, you got to run. You got to run these sprints, and you can't jog like it's a full on sprint.
Yeah.
But my toughest workout would have been in Denver. It was a coach. I want to say his name, John Welch. You might know him. He was with the Clippers for a while.
Yep, I know
But
John.
man, John gets it in, and that time it's crazy. The Denver staff is the ones who drafted me to Sacramento. They actually left that summer, but they were interested in me at the time. And I don't know why, but they brought in some dogs. Like they brought some dogs in, like some guys that I hadn't even heard of, knew about, and never seen play. Strong, big guards, like some goons. You know what I'm saying? Like I think they wanted to see if I was tough enough, type of thing.
What you mean goons? Like people from other teams or overseas guys? Like you were playing against like some randoms?
Nah, bro. I can't remember the names of the guy. I remember one guard in the workout was Mark Lyons, and he was at
Oh, I know Mark. He
yeah,
played at he played at Arizona, I thought, right?
he went yeah, and he was at Xavier, Arizona.
Yeah.
Like he's nice. He's a bucket. He's like that. So, but I'm saying I'm not. He's a dog for sure, hooping wise. You feel me?
Yeah.
He gonna talk. He gonna talk his talk. He gonna back it up, and he's gonna go at you.
You talking about like dudes that are hungry, OD, like trying to
But
get they spot off
and,
of you.
but it was some other cats in there that was like, it's like I swear they brought them in to straight up foul, like to see like is he tough? Like who is he really up? Like what is he made of? And I thugged that workout. I had a really good workout. And then the altitude in Denver and Utah, the altitude is crazy. Um, but that was my toughest. Then the first time I worked with Phil Handy, he was in Cleveland, and he put us through some work.
Hold on, dog.
Yeah,
Hold on. I see you didn't. Phil, my guy, got to be your own goat on right now. So
I
we
see
need.
that. So
I need the Phil Handy story. So he did your
yeah,
pre-draft. How was that?
he did the Cavs workout. It was tough because I had like 13 workouts, and I think theirs was like towards the end. I had just finished my 10th one, and then I just flew in from somewhere. I just got there the night before, and I walk in the gym, and I didn't know who Phil was at the time. I didn't really, I'm coming out of college. I
Yeah,
don't
of
really know
course.
all this. I don't know the league stuff like that. And I remember he had on like the Cavs, stuff, and then he had the tights on. He had the long tights on. I'm like, man, who's this coach who got the tights on? Like, like he must be official. And then just the confidence and way he carried himself about the drills and stuff, I was like, oh, okay. He knows his stuff. But he had us working. He had us working like, with the agents, you work out with your agency, and then they put on a workout for teams and stuff. Like,
Yeah.
kind of try to hide you a little bit, hide your flaws. My Phil he wasn't gonna let you hide nothing. Like, if you can't shoot, you gonna get exposed. If you ain't have no bounce, you gonna get exposed. If you can't handle that ball, you're going to get exposed because he was younger. He's an older cat, and his handle was nicer than a lot of us. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
he was, it was a lot of full court stuff. Then we competed. I think we played threes, ones. Like he wanted to see who was really like that. So his was tough too, and those were probably the toughest. But I think I had 13 of them, and I was all over the place, bro.
Can you elaborate? Because a lot of people don't know. I know this personally. I'm not going to get into detail about what players is doing this, but what the travel is. Because within those 13 workouts, it's only in a couple of days when you're doing it. It's not like you're just doing this in the course of 2 months. Like you
Right.
literally have a month really to do all those 13 workouts, and it's spot to spot. How was it for you?
Yeah. I mean, it's changed so much now. I remember for me, it's like I moved out to LA in like April, right? And so like April to May, we were training for a month, lifting weights in the gym doing the basketball. And then in May, we would go to the combine for a week. Then after the combine, they had like the draft lottery and all that. And then you see the teams, you see where the draft picks are. Then your agent, they get together and they start finding teams that, where you could possibly get drafted. The teams start calling for the workouts. Then it gets real tricky. Your agent wants you to be matched up against another guy at your position so you can show you're better than him. Or, a guy who's supposed to be a top pick might be running from the workout. He wants to dodge it. He don't want to have to play against, someone who can move up on him on the draft board. So you might be scheduled to go work out, on it's Monday. You might be scheduled to go work out on Wednesday, and you're ready to go fly on Tuesday, but that workout gets changed, so like your schedule changes a lot. And then like you literally have like maybe 3 weeks, maybe a 1 month to try to work out for 30 teams in the NBA, or the teams that are picking you. For the top guys, the lottery guys, they might go 3, 4, or 5 teams or whatever. But everybody else, like you grinding, like you working out for, damn near everybody if you can, or who's really interested. So I mean, I worked out for almost half of the teams. So I mean, I was on a plane two. I mean, I was going to different city 2, 3 times a week. I think I did 13 workouts in like 25 days, 24 days, something like that. Maybe even less than that.
Tough because you like literally lose a day when you travel too. A lot of
Yeah,
people don't
East
realize
East
that.
Coast, West Coast. They try to keep
Yeah.
you on that one side of the country, but it might switch.
All right, so we go to the day you get drafted. You spoke about George Karl. I think that was the year that he ended up getting let go after like going first in conference. I'm trying to remember what.
Yeah, he was
Um,
coach of the year.
yeah, he was coach of the year, and then he got let go. So, if you had a great workout in Denver, how did that situation go? With him being let go, was that before you got drafted?
Yeah, uh so with that whole situation, um I went to Denver. They had like a late first round pick. It might have been like 28, 29, something like that. And my projected like draft stuff was 25 to 35. So I was like, all right, cool. It could be something legit. Uh, so I go to Denver. I had a great workout. Everything was cool. They had like, we had a pro day in LA. They had came to watch me at the pro day. They liked me then. And then they wanted me to work out. I went and worked out. And George Karl's there. Everybody was there. He had just won the coach of the year literally a couple days before. And they hit my people up like, hey, like, like we're really considering drafting him. Like maybe we should stop having him work out for some of the other teams. So I'm like, all right, cool. Like I'm about to go to Denver. You know what I'm saying? They had Ty Lawson at the time. Denver was Kenneth Fareed. Like they were popping. You know what I mean? So I was like, okay, cool. I like that. Um, and then I swear to God, bro, 2 days later, I'm at the airport, like going back to. I was either going back to LA or I was leaving another workout or something.
How close
Not
was the draft though at that time when you were leaving?
the draft was maybe like, man, bro, maybe 10 days max, maybe less, maybe 10 days away. So like we're talking about like a week and some change, you know what I'm saying, before the draft day. Bro, I'm sitting there eating. I was eating a little breakfast burrito at the airport, and all over ESPN, the Denver Nuggets fire or part ways, fire Coach George Karl, Hall of Fame coach of the year, boom, boom, boom. I'm like, what? And then the GM, everybody, that whole organization like split apart. So I'm like, hold on, bro. Like, I thought I was just about to go there. So I was like, damn, like I was supposed to be maybe have a chance to go late first round. that was really gonna be my only opportunity that team. And then all that just happened, and I was like, oh man, you know what I mean? So then I had to like I was like about to be done, and I think I had to schedule like 4 or 5 more workouts in, all within like a week of the draft. So you talking about I had like 4 or 5 workouts all the week in 7 days, and that was that stretch that I had to do all that right before the draft, and one of them was Boston. That came at the last like 2 days before the draft. I'll never forget. And yeah, I went to SAC and I didn't even work out for SAC. So
Hey,
it's like, man, I worked out for all these teams, and the team that drafted me then he had me come work out. But they saw me in Denver, so that's how that kind of worked out when I went to SAC.
hey, oh, that's crazy. Oh, with that being said, after you getting drafted and all that, how do you feel now towards kids staying in school? You see, especially with this new generation, you see a lot of kids are going into one or done no matter what. Like they're like the younger the better. And it's pretty much out there. The younger
Right.
the younger you are as a player, the more you can use the potential word, the more you can, kind of get by if there is some flaws because you're still young. So a lot of
Right.
people don't stay in their 3 years and 4 years. And when they do, it seems like they get punished. You know?
Oh, for sure.
So how do you feel, and in talking to these kids, how would you feel about them telling them to stay in school? What do you feel like are the perks and cons?
Um, I think now it's the way that's going now. It's changed so much. They do want you as young as possible. There's so many different avenues now to get to the NBA. I mean, me being overseas, I remember seeing LaMelo come over there when he was super young. And then you see a lot of these guys go over. Like some guys, it works when they go overseas, and then they try to come back to the NBA. Some guys, it doesn't work.
Yeah.
You have one, you got to be really special to like go pro out of high school and be able to go hoop and play well enough where you're going to get drafted, where you're going to get to play. Um, I I think it does hurt guys now that stay in school for a while. But me coming up, like I said, I had CJ, we had Doug McDermott, and those guys stayed 4 years, and look at them now. They're having long careers and great careers. Um, but I think it's a mess now. You got all these high school kids now leaving, not even going to school anymore. There's so much more money involved now. It's totally different. I do like the kids who are league and got a chance, like for sure, go get some bread and do that, and but just know that that path ain't gonna be that sweet, and it might not be that easy. I look at schools like Virginia, Villanova, some of these schools that guys have been there for more. Gonzaga, they've been there, longer. They have success, they win, and they still get drafted. So it does work. But I think the guys who stay longer, you have to be really really good, or you have to win. You know what I mean? And like when you win, it's I think it's a little easier for them to get to NBA. But they definitely don't like guys who stay 3 4, but some still can make it, I think.
All right. Last question. Big time question. Just recently, in the start of July, NCAA made a big announcement, about, image and likeness, make money off your likeness. Going as a McDonald's All American and choosing to go to Detroit Mercy. How much money do you feel like you could have received, by you doing that and made, off your likeness? Because people don't know this. And with schools, when you go and stay in your hometown, that is a big move for schools. People don't really factor that in, but say an LA kid stays in LA, you being a Detroit kid, you stay in Detroit and go to school in Detroit. How do you feel like you could have monetized off you staying and going to, a smaller school and being, a hometown kid?
Man, I would have took the hometown kid slogan and ran with it. Man, what? Listen, bro, I was hometown, went to high school there, won a state championship. McDonald's. I'm staying home playing for Detroit. Man, listen, I would have made sure I had got a some kind of car dealership, a deal with the car dealership. Could have
Yeah.
tried done a commercial or something.
Yeah, like what kind of dealership? Like a local Detroit dealership?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I wasn't asking for nothing crazy. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
okay.
Would have got a whip. You know what I'm saying? I think I could have got some great opportunities, honestly, just from being there. The high school I went to, I went to Detroit Country Day. It's like a prestigious high school. And then like as playing for my dad, we could have done something like father son because we were doing stuff. You know what I'm saying? We were
Yeah.
doing stuff, not getting any revenue or anything, but we were doing stuff to kind of put the city on, put Detroit on the map, the whole deal. So it would have been easy to flip that into some bread and like I said, being from there,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? Like there's some areas in Detroit where they got some money and they would spend it now. And we could have, but I'm happy to see these kids, getting paid and the whole thing. And
Well,
man, I wish if I can go back, yeah, I would have been solid. I would have been straight.
yeah, I mean, you're a very talented person, and your dad is, a college coach. So what do you feel like is a way that kids could, use their name, image, and likeness, besides the car dealerships? What are different ways and things that kids aren't probably even thinking about that they can probably monetize off of?
Well, the first thing I would do is all these kids now, they got such big social media following, right? All these influencers, they get paid all this money to post, right? They get
Yeah.
paid all this money to post on their page. I like to eat, but back in college, I like to eat. So me, I would have got cool with all of the little restaurants. And if I'm one of these kids, I'm posting something to do with the restaurant or whatever, or we can get some type of free meal, or I get a certain amount of meals a week or something. You know what I mean? And not just one restaurant. Like I'm looking at multiple restaurants. That's why I don't have to pay for food, right? I'm trying to get that.
Mhm.
Uh,
All
I
right.
mean that's where my head would be at. I think
Yeah, I'm not hearing that. You know what I'm hearing?
yeah,
I'm getting a big bag. That's what I'm hearing. I'm not
yeah, but
hearing the
see,
I'm not
ain't no
hearing the
way,
mills. And you speaking real
nah,
though right now because I never hear the mills. So the fact
yeah,
that you said that shows what type of mindset you are and you're different because that's all I've been hearing is people talking about how much cash they're gonna get. But I didn't even think
yeah.
about the meal situation, getting free meals and what that can do for a college kid because I was eating a lot of hot and readies, bro. I was
You
D2. I
see what I'm
wasn't like you.
saying?
You know what I'm saying? So
You know what I'm
I was at
saying?
Little Caesars with it. I would have loved to get a free meal somewhere
$5.
else.
I was at Little Caesar too. Little Caesar's from Detroit, bro. It's hot and ready, $5. You feel what I'm saying? So
Yeah,
look,
facts.
it's the food. I'm hearing it too. Everyone's trying to get the bag, this and this and that. I don't think it's gonna work like that. I don't.
Mm,
Maybe
mm,
the quarterbacks, the top guys, whatever.
mm,
The big time schools. Yeah, I would think the two things I would try to do is some type of deal with the car dealership. If you're like if I went to Kansas or Kentucky or one of these schools like that, where the whole city they just that's what it is. Like those car dealerships, they do deals with the coaching staff. Football, basketball, they get cars. So I would try to do something like that, do a commercial, whatever. And then if I had like these kids, these social media, if I had all these followers, I'm definitely going to these restaurants and pitching them the idea like, hey, you know what I mean? Like maybe it's a local spot on campus or something like, hey, like Taco Tuesday, I got a spot. Wednesday, chicken tenders and fries, I got a spot. I got an Italian restaurant on Monday. Like I got my spots for all 5, all days of the week. I'm going here. I'm posting here. I post once a month, whatever, post something on the story. And I get, either a crazy discount or some meal for free. That saves you some bread because that food adds up.
yeah. So do you feel besides social media, so let's just cut out like all the big time names, right? And I'm a kid that, kind of is a kid that's starting to develop. My name starts getting bigger over years. How do you feel like I can monetize off of my name? Do you feel like there's anything that I can do, even though I'm not the number one guy, but potentially could be the number one guy? What are some things that I can do possibly get there? I mean, I know your pop's got some ties, with coaching, so you might have a different perspective, in my opinion.
You talking about like another player on the team? It's not like a
Yeah,
big
like say
recruit.
like one
Yeah,
of your teammates, right? You're the man of the team, right? Your junior year, and
right.
there's probably a kid that ended up becoming the man on your team once you left, but wasn't there yet. What is there a way he can prepare himself to start building himself up and start making some type of money off his likeness and stuff like that?
Yeah, well, I think one of the main things is, I mean, obviously the kid's got to stay ready for his opportunity. When it comes, take advantage and run with it.
Yeah,
That being said, me, if I'm that guy, I'm looking at, okay, what did my teammate do the year before? What were the opportunities that he had? How was he getting money? I'm writing it all down. I'm taking notes, And then I know, like, all right, cool. My time's coming. When my time comes and I'm hot, like when my name's hot, like I want everything that he had and more. You know what I mean? Like I'm
Yeah.
gonna try to maximize that too because they're always looking for that next person to fill that spot.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, because
Like,
some people, a lot of people in this new generation, especially, bro, in life period, not even in the new generation, because it happened when we were younger too. Everybody try to level up each other. Oh,
yeah,
you trying to get JBL? Oh, I'm getting beats. We not going
yeah,
JBL. Like
yeah,
they should low key follow the same recipe for sure.
yeah. You gotta like. I mean, this happened in the NBA, but this is
Yeah.
just a prime example. So when we were in Sacramento, Isaiah Thomas was the pizza guy. So pizza guy is like the local pizza spot in Sac. He's in all the commercials. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like I said, I like to eat. So I'm like, damn, we want a pizza. IT, we can hit IT. He can send a pizza to the crib. Like he gets unlimited pizza. Then I'm a rookie. I'm like, all right, you know what I'm saying? Like, IT, what's up, bro? You can send a pizza to the crib? Yeah, I got you. Boom. Not only does he get the money from the commercial, he gets a free pizza. So me and Ben, best friends. So IT goes to the Suns, his our second year. So like the day IT left to go to the Suns, you know the first thing I hit Ben, hey bro, we gotta make you the pizza guy. You know, Ben was a lottery, he was like 8th pick. You know what I'm saying? Like he's that guy, he's the next one up. And the next thing I know, a week later, Ben's like, hey bro, I'm the pizza guy. I was like, all right, bet. Yeah. Did this commercial, everything. We had free pizzas anytime we wanted, man. But
Dog.
just little things like that. Like
Oh man. Hey,
I'm
that's a hey.
watching.
You know the show's title is called Hidden Gems. That's a hidden gem right there, bro. Real
That's
talk.
me. I'm watching because it's like, all right, cool. At some point in this person's career or college, whatever, like someone's gonna be next up. And those sponsors and those companies are always gonna be looking for that next person to fill that role. So
Dang. Hey man, we got to end off on that note, bro. Real talk. Like if y'all listening right now, that's a pen and paper note. I'm gonna be honest with you because even me, I wasn't even thinking in that realm. Because everybody always seeing is money, 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 money. You're not seeing like the dude that got the pizza spot. You know, and that's what should be highlighted because that's what like Ray said. A lot of people ain't gonna really make the money like that they think. And we
no,
seeing a lot of people sign for big figures, but that's not the opportunity for everyone else. There's other opportunities and you should utilize it that way. So yeah, man, that concludes our first episode of Hidden Gems. Next episode we're gonna have Kyle Fogg. We have a whole bunch of guests that we're gonna have coming on overseas NBA, high school coaches, agents. So make sure you tap in with us. I'm Jordan Richard, professional overseas player, co-founder and CEO of Swish Cultures media platform. Ray, you can sign us out.
hey man, this is Hidden Gems, first one. Your boy Jordan, your boy Ray. We got a lot more for you, so stay tuned.
Appreciate y'all, man.